Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 1 updates. We have got a lot of news to go over tonight. We wrapped up Fear the Walking Dead, and now we are excited to get into the countdown. Before we get started, I got a super chat with Valar saying, "Hello 99 Army, Kill Steph, Kels, Emmy, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, and of course, all the super chatters. Thank you so much. Hopefully I don't sound as nasally tonight. I guess I sounded a little bit different last night. This is my normal voice. Just let me know. This could be an opening monologue. I have to tell you, I'm going to keep it a little bit positive, but there is a hack out there, and his name is Liam Matthews, TV Guide. I've called him out for some of his articles in the past, but he just went over the edge this time and just completely hacked one of the 999 Army's theories. We were the first to talk about it. It may not happen, but it's still our theory. So it's the helicopter, it's the chopper theory. I'm going to talk about it tonight. We are on record as being the first. Now, if it doesn't happen, people say, you guys came up with a bad theory. But I know where it started. So just want to say, Liam, if you're watching again tonight, where you steal some of your ideas, yeah, okay, whatever. Feel free. All right, everybody, let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff. We've seen some comicbook.com stuff. See, at least we give them credit. We've talked Spoil the Walking Dead. Everybody knows we're not the sole generator of information. I mean, we read it, we talk about it, but the theories are our own. That I will definitely say, no doubt about it. I'll read you guys a little bit of the TV Guide article that's out there. And he didn't cite anybody. He just kind of jacked the idea and just went with it and then added a couple more. But you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about in a minute. I do have to talk about some interviews that are out there because I've seen 3 different interviews this week, and man, oh man, is it lip service. It's the exact same interview with 3 different people. It's Angela Kang, it is Norman Reedus, and it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and they're saying the same things to different publications. So they're having a little sidebar like, what can we tell the media? And that has got me more curious than anything right now. And I keep hearing Andy's exit. Andy's exit. Andy's exit. No confirmation of death. So I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to be a believer that there's a possibility that they've used words like trippy and cool to describe his exit. So I don't know, Andy being eaten by walkers, I don't know that would be trippy. I don't know that would be cool. I'm using Jeffrey Dean Morgan's quote saying that it's an awesome ending, it's an awesome exit, but not that he's going to die. Jeffrey Dean Morgan saying that fans will be excited to see the direction of the show. Huh. So, yeah, here's the thing. I did see the quote from Scott Gimple. I'm going to go out on a limb, and many people have been sending me messages asking me to talk about it and what they think would go down. I'm going to talk about a couple other questions that I put out there as well. I got a feeling it's going to be a Walking Dead movie. When he's talking about a big announcement, I think they're going to go to the big screen. And because, they sampled with that a little bit with the season premiere at a big screen, and I think it'll be something. I mean, look, they're all about the money right now. I have to ask a question, and we are fans. I always have to give the disclaimer, we're fans, we love The Walking Dead. Am I the only person that is annoyed as hell that every time I clicked on AMC's site that freaking app popped up like 10 times? I couldn't get rid of it and said, for $4.99, you can watch it 24 hours in advance. No, close it. And now I go to another screen. For $4.99, you can watch it 24 hours in advance. Stop it. Stop spamming me with your app. That was like killing me. I couldn't get the thing to go away. And then I was like looking up some photos, trying to get a story, and the thing popped up again. It's like, really, if you guys want my $5 that much, I'll just give you the $5. Just close the app, and I'm not going to watch it 24 hours in advance. All right, good. I see you guys. It's not just me. And look, I mean, if you guys are going to watch it early, you're going to watch it early. I'm still going to watch it the day of. I already have a good idea of the spoilers and how it's going to go down. We will still do our countdown. We'll sort of rehash a little bit of the spoilers. But this, it's good. I see all the different people. that had the exact same problem as me. We were like, we're the same. We're cut from the same cloth, right? Here's a couple highlights from the interviews throughout the week. I'm going to keep it positive before I have to go extreme negative beast mode on Liam Matthews. I won't forget you, Liam. One of the things that I saw from both, actually I saw it from all three. Kang, Reedus, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan all reiterated the fact that they knew about this exit last year. So they're really going to great lengths in order to say, Rick's not mad, Andy's not mad, it wasn't spontaneous, we didn't just do it. He let us know last season, it was well in advance, he wants to spend time with his kids. All three said the exact same thing. I could have taken the names off one and put it on another one, and it was the same interview. Now Norman did give a little bit of extra information, but the other two were right there, and they were talking about how awesome this ending is. So I'm going to throw it out there one more time because we're doing the countdown, right? We got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're all week long, we're going to be streaming. We're going to be talking about The Walking Dead. So I do have to throw it out there. Angela Kang said there was a lot of pressure to do it right. And here's a quote from Angela Kang. They were talking about they wanted to highlight Rick's past and Rick's legacy. Now, one thing that keeps coming up in Rick's past is the helicopter. Can you guys think of any other publication? I'm going to be fair. And those of you watching the playback, and those of you that might not even be 999 Army fans, I have to ask this question because I want to get it out in the open. Have you guys seen any other YouTube site, any other commentator, any other publication that stated there was a possibility of the helicopter rescue before we went on record as stating that? If you heard it somewhere prior to this, let me know. Because I'm telling you, we were out there forefront talking about that, and now we're hearing people say it's Rick's legacy, that he saw it in episode 1, and then he saw the flashback of it. Okay, I just want to be clear with that. And the reason why I ask is because April, a couple years ago, when I came out with the Orange Crush theory, I caught a lot of heat that said other spoiler sites had reported that prior to me, and that wasn't the case. But I just want to make sure as people are watching it, I got to kind of stake, I got to mark the territory. All right, it wasn't, Sherry, trust me. So now an article came out today, and this is the problem. As we've talked, how many months ago did we talk about the helicopter? All right, many, many months ago. So here's an article that came out today from Liam Matthews and TV Guide, and then we'll get back to the positive stuff. It's called Operation Chopper. Okay? The Walking Dead, and I quote Liam I can't believe I'm citing this hack in his TV Guide article for using our theory. But anyway, let me go ahead and do it. Operation Chopper. The Walking Dead has been teasing something with a helicopter ever since Rick met the Heapsters in Season 7. In the Season 8 premiere, he looked up and saw a helicopter, which at the time seemed like a hallucination, but may have been foreshadowing of his ultimate fate. The helicopter somehow connected to Heapster leader Jadis, who is now going by her real name Anne and living in Alexandria. When she took Negan, okay, blah, 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 we know that. We know when Rick might be leaving, but the who, where, and why of the helicopter is yet to be revealed, but it will have to be revealed, and the mystery of the helicopter has been drawn out for so long at this point that it has to be something huge like taking Rick Grimes away in order to not be anticlimactic. Come on, really? This is coming out today. And so he's been watching spoiler sites and getting the information of when he's leaving, but then you just have Operation Chopper that just, didn't say anywhere, according to the 999 Army, according to whoever might be talking about this. What a load of crap that is. All right, anyway, that's all I'm talking about him in this. Well, maybe not. Maybe something else will come up. It is, Julie, right? So, here's my question. Which one of you is Liam Matthews? Could it be Julie McGuire? Could it be Emmy Desiree? I think one of you. I think one of you are Liam Matthews, and I'm going to find you. All right, I'm just messing with you. All right, let's get into it. So, couple other little tidbits of information. This is not the direction. Shane Hudson's like, it's me. All right. This shouldn't be a shocker, but Robert Kirkman wanted Rick to stay for the entirety of the series. So he did come out and say that. Even though Kirkman does talk tough sometimes, anybody could die, any place, anytime. He does confess that he wanted Rick to stay, but he says life happens, and Rick wanted to spend time with his kids. So he's actually the fourth person to really go on the record of that. So the question I have for you, and before I get that question, if you guys love the 999 Army and you hate hacks stealing our information, hit the like button. Show a little bit of love. If you hate us and you like for people to kind of hijack our theories, then hit the dislike button. Either way, hit one of those two buttons. Do not remain neutral on this topic. We need you either to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, you're showing that you stand for something. If not, you will fall for anything. It's cliche day. So, of all these people talking about a grand exit, an exit that leads to Rick's legacy, something that's cool, something that's trippy, that's Norman Reedus. Jeffrey Dean Morgan said he thought he would change his mind, but the fans will be excited. So I'm going to ask this question to you again. How many people would be excited to see the death of Rick Grimes? Anybody here that would be excited to see Rick Grimes die? A whole lot of no's here. So I tend to give these characters, these actors, benefit of the doubt when it comes to having the pulse of the Walking Dead community. So to say Andy's exit and to say that fans will be excited, I don't see that exit being synonymous to the word death, and I don't see people being excited about death. I see people getting excited about Andy leaving. Now, how many people think the helicopter taking Rick away would confront Rick's past, would complete Rick's legacy, and would also be cool, trippy, and super exciting if he's rescued? Or taken prisoner, either or. Right? So much, much more overwhelming. I mean, that kind of... Maybe Jeffrey Dean Morgan's onto something here. Now, here's a small... maybe we're reading a little bit too much into this, but if they knew, and they're writing the story, and you would think that they'd be writing a story at the end of last season. Like I said, I don't want to read too much into this, but we haven't heard the word death. But when Jeffrey Dean Morgan said he kept thinking he'll change his mind, if the story was written and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is thinking he'll change his mind, wouldn't you think that perhaps the story could be written so he could change his mind? And if he dies, he can't change his mind. So maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing, not trying to twist his words. Exactly, Casey. A way back in. And we don't know that Rick doesn't ever want to come back. Paul Eagle says Andy's up to something. Jamie Jordan, I pray it's open-ended. I'm right there with you. Okay, so let's add some more news on top of that. Andy also said that he would be open to coming back and directing. I don't know if he used the word couple or few. But it was more than one. June Smith with Super Chat. So we're going to jump on over there and give June a little respect and a little bit of attention, and says, I am so looking forward to Sunday and having the support of my 999 Army family. I love you guys. You make my day. And you know what, June? We love you too. Thank you so much. Appreciate that Super Chat and appreciate you being part of the 999 Army and being a part of this channel. We have just an awesome, awesome group of people. So, fact that you guys show up every night and you're passionate about the show, I love it. I love getting here and talking about our favorite show. Jimmy's Jammin' following up with another Super Chat. And Drama King, I saw that as well. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Jimmy's Jammin' says, Kills, Rick departure is the worst thing since the demise of Glenn and Abe. Or Jimmy, is it the worst thing since Morgan going back to help Martha and then going back again to help Martha again, even though it was too late? Because to me, that was it was pretty rough. A Rick movie. But thank you so much for that, Jimmy. I would argue that, and I've taken this stand before. This is not new to you guys. So back to Jimmy's Jammin's comment. It's hard to say fast, Jimmy. I never personally had a problem with Abraham's death. In fact, I was okay with Abraham's death. And I was okay with Glenn's death if it would have been Simon turning around and pulling the trigger, doing something like, I told you not to move, bam. I wouldn't have loved it, but I didn't like that Negan killed Glenn. And I didn't like that he enjoyed killing Glenn. And I know it's splitting hairs there. But yes, Abraham was my favorite. And in hindsight, yeah, I would rather one of the two stayed alive. I'd have been okay with Glenn staying alive, but even if they would have killed Glenn in a different way, I would have accepted it but not liked it. Abraham, I had already come to terms with, he's leaving. And still to this day, miss him on the show. Miss his humor, miss his character. But, you know, the truth is, I mean, we could go back and break that down, and I don't want to spend too much time in that. But I think the writers overdid that scene, for one, but they neutralized most of the threat. And here's what I mean by that. Anybody that was a threat, they found a way to sort of calm them down. So Daryl is taken prisoner. Well, you know Daryl's personality. He was going to fight. If you leave Abraham alive, Abraham is going to fight to the death. Rick, you got him in a tough situation because you got Michonne there and you got Carl. So each person kind of had something keeping them back that they were. So I guess I kind of understand it from that regard. I just don't like the way it played out. We got Steven Chip says, why did Andy go back to shadow a director to learn to direct. Andy is Rick freaking Grimes. He doesn't need to learn to direct. Sounds fishy. I absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with that. I am going to say it again. And you know what? We said this a couple of weeks ago, but tomorrow it'll probably be an episode of TV Guide by Liam Matthews. I think Andy went back to close the path of Rick Grimes in one of three ways. I think only a small group of people know what happened. And I think they left it vague, and he went back and he filmed the last hour, 2 hours, or whatever to bring it to the final resting point. Whether they kill him, whether they rescue him, whatever the case may be. And I do still feel like it's going to be open-ended. And I'm just going to give you one more, and it's not I'm begging for them to change it. It really is a common sense philosophy. The fans don't want Rick to die. They don't. And if 99% of your fans don't want something to happen, you're going to cater to those fans. Anything other than that is really going to be hard to understand. It's going to be hard to explain. It's going to be hard for us to get a hold of. We're not. We're going to limp into it. Episode 6 is going to be it's going to be a task. Yeah, I don't buy the directing thing. I buy it only to the degree of I think it was a dual benefit to that trip. I think he was like, yeah, I'm here, got to take care of some business. Didn't want to hype everybody up and say, oh, he's still filming. He had to have an alibi really quick. Not only did he say it, but Greg Nicotero also went on Twitter and made a comment about it. So it was like damage control before anybody even saw. What is Andy doing there? Oh, we got to explain it. And so they did. So Justin, they're shooting the final, but they go back and they do some retakes. Well, see, Drama King, that's what's funny. Yeah, the TMZ where Andy said, don't believe everything you read. There were a couple people that actually said that. Until what? That don't believe everything that you read unless Norman Reedus says it, or unless Jeffrey Dean Morgan says it, or unless Angela Kang says it, because they all three said the same thing. And that comment was made when the leaked script came out. So, Lori, it's a good point. Opportunity of a lifetime for an actor. Show is booming. Come back and direct. The excuse. I'm going to say this. Like, I don't think he used his family as an excuse. I think he really wants to spend time with his family. I think that is 100% legit. But I do also think that this was not an ending. Here's another quote from Angela Kang, actually. Let me see if I can find the exact wording. And she was talking about spoilers. So, all right, so I think this is from Hollywood Reporter. So this is from Angela Kang. She says, "It definitely was not something he sprung on us at the last minute. It was under discussion for a long time. He takes his job so seriously. It's so lovely and wonderful to work with him. And he wanted to make sure we had time to figure out our story and take care of that business." Which is tough, right? So, according to her, he revealed his intentions well before production wrapped up in the 8th season. And I'm going to get back to that in 1 second because we got somebody making their presence known with a super chat. So you guys know the rules here. When a super chat pops up, I'm going to stop and we're going to jump right into it. Dilling Heron, thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution to the channel and being part of the 99 Army. So shout out to you, my man. All right, so I'm going to talk about a little bit more with this interview. Let's see. They talk about Carl's death. I don't really want to get into that again. So Angela Kang even says, for Robert, Rick is obviously such a big part of the comics. He would have loved for Rick to stay. So once again, we're hearing that not only from Robert Kirkman, but also from Angela Kang. But we're dealing with human beings, dealing with flesh and blood. Lincoln needs to be with his young children and have more flexibility in his life. She says that there were a lot of conversations about the ways in which we create a satisfying story for Rick. What are the important things we've seen from Rick in the past? What's his legacy? So, there's one additional point that I want to make here. Because they skip around in this article and they bring up the whispers and let's see if she reels it back in. Okay, here it is. So she talks about Andy's exit and then she goes on to her favorite story. And I don't know if this is the way the interview went or if the Hollywood Reporter was just kind of jumping around a little bit. But then she comes back and she says, of course, when it comes to the various different things fans are hearing about the show, Lincoln's exit is right at the top of the list. It should come as no surprise that the team would have preferred to live in a world where the news was kept quieter than a whisper. She says, my point of view about the whole thing was we can try to hold on to the secret, but it's probably going to leak. Everything leaks. We have to be prepared for that. And that was when the news was first reported that Andy was leaving the show. And then they made the announcement at Comic-Con. So you knew that was going to happen, first of all, because he's not there filming. That's not really... I think that was a strategic leak to get ready for it and to try to salvage and hype people up as much as they could. But your star is there filming 5 episodes and people are watching every step and they're not there for the last 11 episodes, then, you know, clearly that's not even a leak. That's just obvious. So to kind of get back to the point, I don't think that he's using the family, but because they're so cognizant that something is going to leak, I think the core group of characters know. I don't think any of the extras know. And that's why I think he went back to film the final. I think he probably picked up the phone and said, hey, Norman, this is what they're doing. This is the way they're going to write me out of the show. The same thing with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, with Lauren, with, you know, probably a handful, maybe 15 or 20 of the actors. But if Rick escapes a group full of extras, I just don't think they know at this point. But when Gimple made that comment, a lot of people assumed that that's big news for Rick. I don't think that's the news he's talking about. Look, there's a lot of things going on right now. There's Walking Dead video games. There's been several. That's a big moneymaker. The lifespan of some of these games are not very good, but they get a nice boost. They get good exposure, and then they sort of fizzle out. They've talked about more of the digital shorts they do. I don't think that's big news. I mean, I don't care who you do a digital short for. They're okay. I just don't think they're great. So that wouldn't be anything. I think it's got to be a movie. And there is the whole time skip. And the other thing is the way Jamie, he's leaving. It's not. It is. As much as fans would be happy that he's there, they would be outraged that they were lied to and tricked into watching episodes. They can't do that. You can't violate the trust of the audience. They never said watch Glenn's last episodes. Yes, he was under a dumpster, but they didn't have a going away party for Glenn. If they would have, fans would have been irate. So there's no doubt he's leaving. But it does bring up an interesting point because there is a play on words there. Rick Grimes' final episodes. When you say that, and look, I know you can't give every word of what happens. So when you say Rick Grimes' final episodes, it means, hey, there's a few. It's not one. So they're not going to say Rick Grimes' final episodes before he potentially comes back. I mean, that's kind of dumb, right? But at the same time, the fact that they are saying Rick Grimes' final episodes gives a finality to it. An ending, a termination. Unlike anything they've ever done. They didn't say Madison's final episodes. They didn't say Sasha's final episodes. So they're hyping it up as an exit. And with that, it may be impossible for them to ever bring him back to this series. But it still doesn't mean that he dies. And I do think, as difficult as that would be for some people, if Rick was captured, we are under the impression that every question has to be answered. The universe is big. There should be people that leave that we don't get every answer to every question. What if Rick is taken by the group in a helicopter? What if we find out they're not the Commonwealth? What if we don't ever see Rick again on this show, but we do see Rick in a big screen movie explaining what happened after he was taken? That's kind of where I think it's trippy, and that's where I think it's kind of cool. Joe Fulford says, sorry for being behind here, but what is the latest on Lauren Cohen? Will she be back for the whole season? There is talk that they will bring her back in some capacity in season 10. So it appears she's leaving. And that's a hell of a long time for her to be gone. You're talking about, 5 years? So, DJ Low-Key, it's not, I don't know if it's as much about reaching. I think it's more about analyzing unconfirmed spoilers at this point. I mean, it is still open for debate. If we had something confirmed and it said this is the way it is, then I would agree with you. I think it'd be a little bit more of a stretch. But since there are still multiple scenarios that are still in play, I think, I don't know what percent, he could die, what percent he could be taken away in a helicopter. But if you take a couple different facts that are out there and say, Scott Gimple says there's some big news, they're hyping up. So let me go to just what the words mean. And once again, maybe I'm reading too much into this. Now, DJ, this might be a little bit reaching, so I'll agree with you on this. Andy says his relationship with Rick Grimes is far from over. True or false, everybody? Stick with me on this one. I'm just going to give you probably a reaching theory here. That is the quote. So I'm going to give you 3 facts. True. All right. This is where everybody participates. Get involved. All right. The Walking Dead said Rick Grimes' final episodes. True? So we're checking 2 boxes here. Andy equals Rick. Final episodes. The key word I want you guys to remember here and underline this, episodes. Episodes pertains to what? Television. No, Tommy, I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying last. I'm not even going down that road. It's final episodes. I'm okay with that. We'll take that literally. Episodes, TV. Scott Gimple says there's a big announcement. Okay? What would be a big announcement? Another spinoff? That could be. Wouldn't have anything to do with Rick more than likely, but that could be, but that would still be television. A new video game? Probably not. But a movie would satisfy all 3. And like I said, maybe I'm reaching here, but Andy says his relationship with Rick is far from over. That means maybe he could still be Rick Grimes in some capacity. Walking Dead says Rick Grimes' final episodes. They don't say Andrew Lincoln's final episodes. They say Rick Grimes. So no television. Means he might be moving off The Walking Dead. And then Scott Gimple said there's a big announcement. To me, A, B, and C are satisfied. I think we're well within our right to say there could be a Walking Dead movie starring Andrew Lincoln. Why not? Until that's shot down, June Smith, that is an excellent question. And I absolutely think they could kill Rick Grimes in a movie and it would have such a different impact than killing him on the TV show. I think it would be absolutely epic, is to do a movie and show, look, heroes die in movies all the time. But if you really want to kill Rick Grimes, don't kill him on the TV show. Have everybody go watch the movie and watch the death of Rick Grimes as a Walking Dead movie. Would be absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. And we would walk out of there in tears. But it would you want checkbox number 4? Angela Kang said they needed an exit that would justify Rick's legacy. There's number 4. And here's number 5. This is the slam dunk. They did it last year. They had the premiere in movie theaters, so they were already toying with the idea of putting The Walking Dead on the big screen. So, as I said before, stay tuned. Tomorrow, TV Guide, Liam Matthews will say, Andrew Lincoln might be making a big screen movie. Because that hack is going to be hijacking all our stuff. All right, I'm not mad. I am just openly mocking him for what he did. And thank you, Lakeisha. Appreciate that. And also Shane for saying just a lot of love and loving the streams. Appreciate it. Kirby, if they did a spinoff, first of all, Andrew would be attached to it even though he'd be home. But like I said, then you're using that play on words where if it's a TV show, it's not really Rick's final episodes. And they are very cryptic with their language. Because if they did a spinoff and they did a Rick Grimes show, yes, we would watch it, but we would be calling like, traitor, come on. You lied to us. Here's the difference. And I know some people are saying, well, Fear the Walking Dead misled us. They said they were going to Alexandria. Okay. In the show, their characters said they were going to Alexandria. The characters never promised us anything. So the characters have a right to change their mind. When you go outside of character and you put on AMC's commercial and say, watch the final episodes of Rick Grimes, follow the journey, the final episodes of Rick Grimes, you can't go back from that. That's not like Morgan saying they're going to Alexandria. That is the writers, the producers, the showrunners telling you to come watch and experience the end of Rick Grimes, the journey, the final episodes. Totally different. So I very well think I wouldn't hold on for a spinoff and say, hey, Rick's going to go to the UK and there's going to be a UK spinoff. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that they're going to mess around with a third franchise right now. You got Walking Dead pulling in $5.2 million. You've got Fear the Walking Dead pulling in $1.7, $1.8 million. Okay, those numbers are skewed a little bit because live plus 7, so they're a little bit more than that. But I don't think they're going to put together a third franchise and take a chance on having a TV show that pulls in 1.2, 1.3 million viewers. I don't think that's going to happen. But I will guarantee you, any fan of Rick Grimes, if they put this on the big screen and they leave it open-ended, is going to go fork out big money to go see what happens to Rick. I guarantee you, it would be the greatest marketing of all time. And kill him. Kill him and let us watch it in a movie theater. I think that would be epic, and that would classify as epic, and I would give the writers all the credit in the world. It's like, you guys are sneaky, but I like what you did there. All right, we got Miss Ollie Grims Dixon. Okay? I'm going to call you Miss Ollie. I've always wondered, with the super chat, why he didn't move his family here to be together. Kids are little. Usually the wife and kids follow the father. That's a great question. The only thing I'd say is just culturally, and I can't speak of what life is like in the UK, but apparently his family loves it there, and he's been traveling back and forth, and he just decided that that's where he wants to raise his kids. And I can't fault him for wanting to raise his kids. It's definitely different than Atlanta, Georgia. I have some experience with Atlanta, Georgia, but I mean, he sacrificed for 10 years. I don't know. I don't know that we'll have the answer to that question. I appreciate the super chat, but it's just, speculation, and Georgia just may not be their lifestyle. And I think anyone that, 10 years as a family supporting your husband and your father to go out and do what they do, and they know what he means to The Walking Dead. But that would also be epic too, wouldn't it? If Rick came back to his family and said, "Hey, guess what? Um, Daddy's got another movie coming out, and I'm going to be awesome, Rick Grimes, on the big screen. And I'm going to film this thing. And you know what? They could film it in the UK. And, his filming schedule might be a little bit easier than a TV show. Good stuff. Really, really good news out this week, and that's what I wanted to get together and just kind of drive it, because there's so many conversation topics. And I do think he wants to get on the big screen, and I do think ultimately he does want to shed a little bit of that Rick Grimes image. So doing a movie would get us back accustomed. We'd still be seeing Rick, but we'd be seeing him on the big screen. And I think you'll see him just start to branch out and do a couple different movies. Really good comments. I'm just reading a few things right now. I'm still with you guys. All right. We're going to start to wind this down. Do want to make a couple announcements. I'm just reading through some more of my notes to make sure we covered everything that we want to talk about tonight. So, a couple announcements for everybody. We are going to be streaming all week long. So, we're going to do updates, any news that's going to come out, and let me absolutely. Did I miss a question? Hold on. I just saw Valar popped up like, kills my question. All right, give me a second. I got to scroll through. Unless you want to type it again for me. Oh, here we go. I got you, Valar. So Valar said, kills, did they ever have the number of how many people attended the movies to see that premiere? I do not know. I mean, you know what, Valar? I'll try to find out that information tomorrow just to see if they thought it was successful. I would have to imagine that it had to be somewhat successful because it was only in select theaters. And I know people that were driving miles and miles and miles to get there. So I'm going to ask this question before we wind it down. As I said, we're going to be doing updates, news. There's going to be a brand new news cycle every single day. I'll try to get that information for you. Two more things, actually. One, Scott Gimple's announcement. What do you guys think it is? I'm going on the record of saying it's going to be a Walking Dead movie. Let me see some of your thoughts and some of your comments, and then I'm going to read a few of my Patreons' comments from earlier today because there's something that is starting to concern me a little bit. So I'm going to have to address it, just a scene from the trailer. So looks like a few people are saying they think it could be a movie, miniseries, same movie. If it's a spinoff, I don't think it's involving Rick Grimes. Legally, I just think they'd catch too much heat of saying it's somebody's last episodes and they do a spinoff and it's like, oh, they weren't your last episodes. So Miss Ollie again says, everybody, let's keep voting for Andy. He's been nominated for People's Choice Awards, Best Male Drama Actor. He deserves it to win. You know, wouldn't that also get him a little bit more attention as well? To get him on the big screen? And, you know what? Maggie B, I would absolutely love that. And here's the deal. I don't ask you guys for a lot of stuff. But I am definitely down to do voiceovers. So if The Walking Dead were to put together an animated series, you guys spam Robert Kirkman, AMC, whoever puts it together. I would love to be one of the voices on there. And I think they could do a character. I wouldn't even charge them. I would just do it because I think it would be fun. So you could even kind of send them an email and say, Kills will volunteer to do this, to represent the 999 Army and to do it. I'd love to jump in that. I like the idea, though. I think it's going to be a movie, but an animated series would be fun. And we wouldn't have any contract disputes or any of that stuff. I wouldn't be saying, hey, I'm going to boycott, I'm going to hold out because you guys got to pay me. I'd be like, hey, I'll do it. Just let me record it. I'll send it to you guys. Just give a shout out to the 999 Army, and that's all we'd ask. That's right. There you go. See, there's the love. There's the support. I appreciate you guys coming around. All right. One of the questions I'd asked the Patreons a little bit earlier today is, I am really getting concerned with the amount of scenes that Michonne has without Rick in the trailers. The scene of her cutting through the walkers and the scene where it's dark and she finds the bloody bat. So I asked a question, a couple people answered earlier today. I thought it could be a tactic by the Saviors, and Valar says the same thing. She says, I think it'd be a tactic with the Saviors. They want to send a message and a reminder of what happened in the first lineup. For most of them, Negan is still in charge. And Crystal, the singer chick, Gore, says, I think it could be Michonne after Rick's exit. I'm wondering if rather than going into shutdown in her grief like Rick did, her gut instinct, Michonne is concerned that she'll go back into badass mode, taking out everything that gets in her way. And we got a super chat with Joe Fulford. He says, when will the announcement be made? I don't think he gave a time frame, Joe. I think it was typical Scott Gimple, and he's just like, we got a big announcement to make. So maybe, let's watch a little bit of Talking Dead on Sunday, and maybe we'll get a few clues from that. And we're at 53 minutes, so one last question, and you guys heard the question I asked the patron, so I'm going to ask you. What does the bloody bat that Michonne finds mean? And I think it's important that she finds it. Is someone setting up Negan? Does Negan escape? And someone plants the bat, trying to get Michonne. Could it be Daryl or Maggie trying to get Michonne not to trust Negan? That's another possibility. So if Negan escaped, why would the bat be left behind? Why not take it with him? I think it's a setup of some sort. Anyway, that's a little food for thought for everybody to think about as we transition into tomorrow's topic. Hint, could be some things that we talk about tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for being here. Awesome news cycle. There's more stuff out there that we didn't even get a chance to get to, but I really wanted to focus tonight on Angela Kang, also Norman Reedus and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, just how their interviews are going into play. And, of course, Operation Chopper, as TV Guide is calling it. But I think it still has some possibility. But if we're talking about leaving it open-ended, if Rick gets captured, taken away via chopper, and we have no idea what happens to him, and there's a 5-year time skip, fans are going to be scratching their head. And then if they make that announcement, so Joe, when could they make that announcement? Maybe Rick's exit is open-ended after episode number 5, and they make the announcement after we find out that Rick doesn't die. That would be my guess. So I guess we got about 5 weeks to figure that out. Amanda Goss, super chatting, says maybe Michonne alone because she's going to be a leader. Or, Amanda, I could definitely see Michonne transitioning into that leader role. The only thing that scares me a little bit about her wanting to do it is how she may be the sole provider and the sole protector of Judy. And I think if she has to choose between leading and protecting, I feel like she's going to protect. And why not let Michonne, if Rick does get captured, Michonne's quest to go find him? So one more question for the group, because we did this with Fear the Walking Dead, and we were talking about what could slow them down. When Morgan said they're going back to Alexandria, and we said, what could slow them down? Could be the weather, could be they're going to run into certain things, something's going to sidetrack them. So we were right on the money with that. You guys did an excellent job. So in similar context, if Rick were captured, what could slow them down to prevent them from finding Rick? If that is the storyline, because we know that Rick's not going to want to be without Michonne, and Michonne's not going to want to be without Rick. But what could prevent that from happening? Obviously, if he dies, that'll prevent it from happening. But if Rick is alive, what potential barriers or roadblocks could keep them apart? The Whisperer story arc. The fact that if he flies away, they're trying to figure out where he goes. They think he's dead. Those are all good possibilities. Being held captive, not knowing where he is, getting captured. Savior rebellion. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because in Fear, it was a combination of all the things that we talked about. And I think in Walking Dead, it could be a combination of all of those things as well. Exactly, Kel. It's too many possibilities, but it's almost like you figure out, well, that's why, oh no, but this happened and this happened. And they can all sort of happen one after another or semi-simultaneously. I think that's an oxymoron, but you get where I'm going with that, is in rapid succession, if these events are preventing them, it's like, we got to find Rick. No, there's danger, imminent danger. And eventually time becomes time and you don't find him. And the movie may have to answer that question. So that is where we are going to leave it. We're at 59 minutes. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't worry, there will be much, much more to talk about all week long. We're not going to exhaust every topic in one night. Thanks to everybody for being here. I see several new people. If you guys are new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because we want you to come back. We want your ideas, your thoughts, your theories listed here before anybody else lists them. Also, everybody in 999 Army, do me a big favor. Hit that thumbs up button, like this video, talk about it, share it. Once this video goes live, I need you to get over, check out the comments, because people are going to watch the playback and they're going to comment on what you say. So I need you to kind of pay them a little respect and comment on what they say when they're commenting on what you say. So I want to thank all the patrons in the upper left-hand corner. You guys are absolutely amazing. Appreciate your support. Also, all the sponsors. You guys are incredible as well. And my moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, thank you for everything that you guys do. And, of course, a super shout-out to each and every one of you. Would not be here if it was not for the 999 Army. Everybody who's here, give me a quick 999. Let me get as many shout-outs as I possibly can in the next couple minutes. So I want to say what's up to Anna Demo, Tim, Nino, Jamie Jordan, Cammie, Julie McGuire, Deborah Paul, listening at work. Thank you so much. Jennifer Flaherty, Samantha Coombs, Sheila Beasley, Uncle Creepy, eBeach72, Trevor Koenig, Shane Yutzy, Tammy Heitzman, Tracy Grubb, Dawn of the Frank, thank you, DDA Ohio, Timothy Lamora, the Catnat, Shane Hassan, Nicholas Scott, Ida Roma, C. Crinch, Lieutenant Ripley, Albert Arthur, Jay Irons, Julia Drums, Dr. Fleeman, Dominique, thank you. Gina Crockett, thank you for being here. Crystal, the singer chick Gore as well. Hey, thank you. You're welcome, ma'am. Love being here with you guys. Grayland28, Laura Brown, Ron Burgundy, Valar, thank you. Bumblebee Brown, thank you. Casey LeBoom, Andrea T., Marcia Cooper, Lisa Smith, Viola McGowan, thank you. Lori Amel, Betty Jackson, have a good night. Emma McCalick, thank you, Emma. Delmarva, 1971, appreciate it. Glad you love discussion. I love having discussions with you. June Smith, thank you. Have a good night. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate it. Paul Eagle, thank you. Melinda Kettler, Maggie B. And within a couple weeks, those of you that are familiar with the channel, we will be ramping up some random things again. Once Walking Dead season is in full swing, you guys know that we do random things and we take a break and then we jump back into it. But we're going to have some good random things topics coming up in probably a few weeks. We're still working on the schedule with that as well. I know some people as their absolute favorite stream because we just get together, we talk about random topics and just hang out. Dylan Herring, thank you. And also, do want to acknowledge all the super chatters in tonight's stream. So let me give a quick shout out to all the super chatters. Valar, June, Jimmy's Jammin', Stephen Chip, Dylan Herring, Joe Fulford, Miss Ollie, and Amanda Goss. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zelda Faz. Appreciate you being here. All right, I know I missed a ton of people in the shout-outs, but if I missed you, I will catch you all tomorrow night. Thanks, everybody. See ya. Peace.